Hello guys, Eric here, and I've had the Sony A6300 for a couple of months now. I'll admit that in the beginning I had some huge growing pains, but I'm glad to say that I've really figured out a workflow for this camera, and I'm glad to say that I have some opinions on it, which I feel that I can finally recommend to other YouTubers. So is the Sony A6300 the best camera for YouTube? Let's start with the obvious. The A6300 is stupid light. Pair this with the right glass and it's great. You can throw it in just about any bag and it's perfect for almost any shooting scenario. But this kind of goes the other way. If you have some larger glass or are using an adapter, you're going to look absolutely ridiculous with this camera. It's going to be lopsided as hell and it's just going to be a really big headache. Going along with the easy route, the autofocus and overall auto modes on this camera are amazing. Autofocus on the A6300 is amazing. Whether you're shooting videos or photos, you're almost never going to be out of focus for too long. The Sony A6300 has an APS-C sensor, meaning that it can still stay small and fairly cheap, but it brings in great low light and overall really good bokeh, even at stuff like this, where it's at f3.5, but that's a little blurrier, and while it definitely could be better, that's pretty good for a kit lens. Oh yeah, and this has Wi-Fi transfer and a Wi-Fi monitor through the application on your phone. This is definitely one of the most useful things, so if you don't want to buy a monitor for the camera because there's no flip-out display, you can use that and save a couple bucks there. This is also perfect to send pictures directly to your phone through NFC or Wi-Fi, as so that you can just directly edit them on your phone and then send them onto your social media. That's what I do, and it works out very, very well. Follow me on Instagram to see some of the photos I've taken. But of course, not everything is perfect with this camera. For starters, the controls are pretty bad. Because of the small body, you're gonna have some downsides, and the primary one is the fact that all the buttons are close together and the ergonomics are hit by that. Now, all the buttons are customizable. There's no fear here, and if you understand how to work with the buttons, then it's gonna be no problem. I reprogrammed all of mine and now everything is smooth and my workflow is perfect, but out of the box it's an extremely strange process. Oh yeah, and this camera and the glass that you want to buy directly for Sony is expensive. Now you can buy adapters, and because of the great autofocus on it, many of the autofocus lenses that you can attach to an adapter will still be fairly fast. I'll link an entire video where somebody tests this out with the Metabones adapter below. I found it very interesting, and it's one of the reasons I actually bought the camera. Oh yeah, and here's one last thing. 4K is useless on YouTube. Here's my final conclusion. If you're a YouTuber, you need to know your audience. As a tech YouTuber, I want my videos to be in 4K so you can get as much detail as you'd like for those product shots, so you understand what the entire thing looks like. Another instance I can think of is makeup. You want to crop in on somebody's face, see all their blemishes, and see what they're doing right and wrong so that you can learn. Otherwise, there are very few instances that I feel that 4K makes an impact on the content that people are making. And the last thing is pretty obvious that everyone says, and that I needed to come to terms with myself. It's that you make the video, not your camera. Know that your content is your content and not your camera's. No matter how good your camera is, it can always be a bad video. But no matter what camera you have, you can always still make a good video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, drop me a comment down below why you didn't. This is Eric, and I have more videos coming your way.